At the start of 2024, unusual reports began spreading through the media about a chain of disappearances. Several young women, mostly models or aspiring ones, flew to Dubai after being offered lucrative opportunities, only to vanish without further contact. The first alarms came from people closest to them. Relatives, friends, and agents noticed that calls were unanswered, phones were switched off, social media had gone silent, and the girls themselves seemed to have evaporated. At first, the situation did not draw much public attention. Tourists disappearing in Dubai for ordinary reasons was not uncommon. Some were detained, some misplaced documents, and some simply stopped communicating. But toward the end of winter, the number of similar stories increased, and journalists began connecting pieces that hinted at a disturbing pattern. One of the first to raise concern was Monica Salt, a talent scout at Global Vision modeling agency. She realized that 3 models from her list had vanished within a short span. Lauren Stewart, 21, from Seattle, Clara Hill, 20, from Madrid, and Aisha Amber, 22, from London. Each of them had reportedly traveled to the UAE for a private photo shoot promising high pay. Before contact was lost, Monica received one last message from one of them mentioning a mysterious organization offering incredible earnings and involvement in a special project with Arab sheiks. Monica reached out to US and Spanish authorities, but they offered no solutions. Since the girls disappeared outside their jurisdiction and no official crime reports had been filed, the agencies claimed they could do little. It might have seemed like another case of shady overseas contracts if not for the repeating similarities. Before vanishing, each girl had met someone who claimed to be a recruiter for exclusive Dubai agencies. They lured the models with promises of luxury parties, elite runway events, and enormous payouts for a week of work. All the women had been instructed not to reveal details or locations of the job, allegedly to avoid losing the offer. At least, that's what Monica gathered from reading the girls' last messages. Word of these disappearances eventually reached investigative journalist Andre Nolan, known for his work on trafficking and transnational crime. After contacting Monica, Nolan discovered at least 5 missing models, all aged between 20 and 23, all traveling to Dubai between January and March, all flying without a fixed itinerary. Their visas were arranged through third parties, and flights were funded by an anonymous sponsor. Nolan suspected a criminal ring operating within the Emirates but had no sense of its scale. When he attempted to verify details through diplomatic contacts, the replies were always the same: isolated incidents, no solid proof, and a void of legal basis to launch an investigation. Perhaps, officials said, the girls left voluntarily to another country. Nonetheless, Nolan persisted, reaching out to colleagues across Europe. Then he received a chilling anonymous email signed Digital Witness. The message described a secret cult in Dubai performing barbaric rituals, sacrificing victims, and selling images of the abuse on the dark web. The claims sounded unreal, reminiscent of medieval horrors, but the tone of the witness was genuine, frightened, shaken, and desperate. In April 2024, another girl disappeared. Elaine Blair, 23, from Sweden. Her sister, Julia, drew public attention by releasing Elaine's private messages, which referenced a hidden club and sworn secrecy under threat of no payment. The club's name, Orion, caught Nolan's attention. Digging deeper, he stumbled upon old forum posts from the early 2000s about a clandestine group called Stars of Orion, rumored to practice occult rites and human sacrifice while hosting gruesome orgies using ritual items. For years, these tales were dismissed as online folklore, but the mounting disappearances were impossible to ignore. What if part of the legend was real? Around that time, news emerged that a young woman named Evelyn Home had been admitted to a private Dubai clinic in critical condition with signs of severe abuse. Officially, she was identified as a domestic violence victim, but insiders whispered that unknown men had dropped her off and quickly vanished. Evelyn was from Norway and had posted online 2 weeks prior that she was headed to a VIP event in Dubai, a suspiciously common pattern. Nolan tried following the trail through contacts, but by the time he reached the clinic, Evelyn had been transferred to an undisclosed location. Attempts to learn her condition were met with evasions. Someone was clearly erasing traces and relocating witnesses. By May 2024, the internet was buzzing with rumors of a cult-like community in Dubai. Some claimed the group worshipped ancient deities and conducted bloody offerings. Others said these rituals masked violent exploitation disguised as mysticism. One detail remained consistent. The group targeted attractive young women, promised them glamorous work, and turned them into captives. According to rumors, victims were tortured, photographed in agony, and the images sold on exclusive darknet platforms for enormous profit. As expected, UAE authorities denied everything. "We have no evidence of such crimes. This is false information." Western diplomats avoided any scandal due to political and economic ties. When inquiries were raised, the responses were cold and formal. Any potential thread unraveling this cult snapped as soon as it reached official channels. Then, a high-profile case emerged. In June 2024, a young Australian woman named Joyce Harris escaped a ceremony. She gave an anonymous interview to a handful of journalists, including Nolan. Joyce explained that a man named Samira, claiming to be a manager, had taken her to a villa where several other girls were held. She was forced to wear strange garments, symbols were painted on her skin, and she was told she was being prepared for a ritual. Girls who resisted were beaten and threatened with knives. She sometimes heard screams behind closed doors. Guards repeated that a great sacrifice was coming. Terrified, Joyce pretended to cooperate, slipped a guard a sleeping pill she'd managed to hide, and fled at night. Before leaving the villa, she glimpsed a room where several figures were leaning over a mutilated body performing what looked like a ritual. Joyce fled, caught a taxi, and escaped to another emirate before returning home. Her testimony was among the first to label the events as cult activity. She described leaders, who called themselves servants of the desert colossus, wearing amulets inscribed with symbols resembling Arabic script with sharp, angular additions. Whether this began as a cult that evolved into a criminal enterprise or vice versa was unclear. Another survivor, using the pseudonym Sienna Green, agreed to share her account. She was 20, from New York, and had traveled in May for what she believed was a fashion event. At first, everything seemed normal. Lavish parties, pools, VIP crowds. But one night, masked figures forced her into a hall filled with girls arranged in a circle. In the center stood an altar covered with arcane symbols. Strange rhythmic music echoed. Sienna and others were dragged forward and made to kneel. A man who seemed to be the leader spoke in Arabic, then in broken English. "You are women made to serve." Panic overtook her. The following hours were a nightmare. They were separated, filmed, forced into degrading acts, and those who resisted were beaten with batons or shocked with stun guns. Sienna was tied to a pole, burned, and recorded. One cameraman bragged openly about selling exclusive content. After the ritual, the conscious girls were injected with a drug that blurred their memories. Sienna woke in a locked room with other injured girls. Food was given once a day. The captors treated them like commodities awaiting the next ritual. Sienna attempted to escape once but was caught and tortured even more severely, her skin branded with a smoldering iron. Eventually, she faked obedience. On days when buyers or ritual participants arrived, the girls were humiliated publicly. Sienna survived only because she had not been selected for the final ceremony, which, according to whispers, ended in death. Eventually, Sienna was placed in a group meant to be transported elsewhere. While being loaded into a van, members of a local gang or perhaps a police unit confronted the captors. A shootout erupted. Amid the confusion, Sienna leapt out, injuring her arm, and managed to reach the road, where locals quietly helped her. Afraid of authorities, they left her at a clinic. With help from friends back home, she fled the country. In New York, she spoke to human rights groups and lawyers, but none could take formal action. Without names or locations, and with only scars and trauma as evidence, officials shrugged. Without pressure from higher government offices, no international case would be opened. Sienna realized her story might fade, but she submitted her files to bloggers, hoping public pressure would help. Some excerpts were published, but soon lost in the flood of news. Sienna now undergoes therapy. Her body is scarred, her mind relives nightmares. She warns other women, don't fall for glamorous lies. There are real cults behind some of these offers, people who believe in blood and death, not just criminals. Kimberly George, 22, from Australia, was another survivor. She had gone to Dubai through a fake fashion contract. Initially, everything seemed like ordinary escort-style work photo shoots, clubs, until one supposed VIP meeting spiraled into horror. Kimberly was taken outside the city to robed individuals who muttered words like impure, cleansing, and sacrifice. She was forced to drink a bitter liquid that clouded her senses. They stripped her, insulted her, beat her, and burned her skin with rods shaped like strange symbols. Everything was recorded, with one cameraman saying the photos were valuable in a private club. Kimberly realized this wasn't only brutality, it was a twisted ritual. She was kept alive only because she wasn't chosen as a sacrificial victim. She was thrown into a communal basement where she saw other victims, some gravely wounded, one with a symbol carved into her chest. Some died, their bodies were taken away. Kimberly endured a week of torture while captors filmed everything for wealthy buyers. She was eventually moved with other girls for a trafficking sale. During transportation, the van was stopped by a patrol. Whether coincidental or prompted by a tip is unknown. Tension escalated, bribes failed, shots were fired, and chaos broke out. Kimberly escaped, ran until she reached a passing car, and begged for help. She contacted her embassy and reported everything, showing her burns and injuries. But again, nothing significant happened. Officials labeled it kidnapping and promised an investigation that never materialized. No major arrests were made. Kimberly returned home, received treatment, and eventually gave an anonymous interview. She said the most terrifying part wasn't the torture, it was that the perpetrators believed they were purify the world. Money was secondary. Their true aim was sadistic control, with the photos serving as a profitable byproduct. The story turns even darker with the case of Natalie West, 21, from Bristol. She had worked part-time in clubs and dreamed of modeling. She flew to Dubai in summer 2024. After landing, she vanished. Her last social media post read, "Hello Dubai, bring me your glamour." 2 weeks later, her relatives panicked. Later, a darknet user mentioned seeing a British girl held in a cult basement surrounded by ritualistic items. In the fall, a set of encrypted photos appeared online titled "Sacrifice of an English Doll." They depicted a girl resembling Natalie torture scenes and the final moments of her murder. Over 30 images circulated. Her friends used digital tools to compare the photos and believed it was unquestionably her, yet officials dismissed the images as unverifiable. With no body found and no concrete source, the case was closed. Many believed this was one of the cult's full sacrificial ceremonies, after which all evidence was destroyed. Those who viewed the images said the brutality was so extreme that even seasoned criminologists refused to describe them. Why were the perpetrators never caught? Several explanations circulated. Political protection. Dubai is a massive financial hub. A scandal linking it to ritualistic human trafficking would cripple its image. Authorities preferred silence. Corruption. The cult or gang likely had powerful allies. Large payments could keep local police from interfering. When problems surfaced, only symbolic investigations were carried out. Fear and lack of evidence. Victims were terrified to testify, and many bodies were never recovered. Without formal complaints, the disappearances were written off as missing persons. No major convictions followed. Some believed lower-level members were occasionally detained, but the leaders remained untouched. Nolan, who had compiled years of information, later admitted, "All the trails lead to people no institution dares confront. Individuals powerful enough to buy silence." By late 2024, reports of disappearances declined or simply stopped reaching the media. Perhaps the cult went underground or refined its methods. Still, occasional rumors surfaced: another girl missing, new dark web photos being sold. Yet no global investigation ever materialized. Survivors like Sienna and Kimberly struggle to rebuild their lives. They sometimes give anonymous warnings online, but many want to forget. Those who vanished like Natalie remain tragedies without justice. Their families hold on to hope, though there is little chance of closure. The group behind these horrors continues to operate under shifting aims, with no trial ever exposing their crimes. Dubai authorities maintain diplomatic neutrality, and the world moves on. The only lingering impact is a cautious fear among modeling communities. Telegram groups and modeling chats share warnings about offers in Dubai connected to predatory schemes masquerading as luxury contracts. Some people still think these warnings are exaggerated, but survivor testimonies say otherwise. Even at the end of 2024, though overshadowed by global headlines, the story of the Dubai cult remains one of the most disturbing and elusive mysteries. Officially unacknowledged and riddled with fragmented accounts, the tragedy continues to haunt journalists and researchers. The names of the victims may never become widely known, yet the images and rumors of horrific rituals persist in the darkest corners of the web. No perpetrator has faced public justice, their identities are protected, and any leaders arrested have vanished behind political shields. Sometimes, whispers of stars of Orion reappear, stories of girls used as ritual objects and torture turned into profit only to be forgotten again by a distracted world. And so this grim tale ends, one that might be far closer to reality than anyone wants to admit. It leaves a haunting question. In the 21st century, can such violent ritualistic crimes still be carried out with impunity, their evidence sold like merchandise, without international pressure or major convictions? The answer is terrifyingly clear. Yes, and that is the darkest truth behind the legend of Dubai's cult, a legend whose real story has never fully come to light. That's all for now. Share your thoughts in the comments. If you found this gripping, tap like.